Alright, just sort of a quick video here. I'm trying to figure out weapons to use for the new Sacrifice Paladin. We obviously can't play it because the beta is not open right now. But I kind of wanted to figure out what the issues were starting this at all. One problem. So you get Sacrifice, sure, that's got synergies with Redemption and Fanaticism. Cool, so you max those out. Then you have 30 skill points to put somewhere else. And there's nothing really else to take. So I actually put points into Prayer and Vigor, just as dump skills, because survivability is going to be a problem on this class, so running between packs and having Prayer on instead to get some health back. The way I've built this, I do have 32 life leech. So one hit on anything brings back most of your health. And you can see, damage is good. The whole point of the new Sacrifice build is all of your overkill damage will create a corpse explosion from the body of the monster you killed, and all the overkill damage goes into the corpse explosion. So the survivability in this, I think, is going to be predicated on clear speed. It's probably going to be a glass cannon. You can imagine a paladin without a shield it doesn't play well right now on just the base pluggy. But I've kind of narrowed down some weapons that I think are going to be either early starters or the creme de la creme endgame gear here. First off, on your mercenary, I don't have it because I screwed up my plugin and left the game when I died. But I think an Azure Wrath is going to be almost a go-to necessity on a merc, because the biggest problem with this is you need to sustain your own life, which you can by flipping redemption and stuff, but anything that you can't leech off of is a problem. Just off the bat. I mean, think about it, how squishy or how pot-dependent Oridins are. You're sort of in the same boat, at least when it comes to fighting undead. So having something to deal with them and having that extra aura from the Azure Wrath, the Sanctuary aura, it's really good. It worked out a lot better. But in terms of the weapons for the Paladin itself, so you'd think, well, because all the overkill damage goes into a corpse explosion, I just want to get as much damage as humanly possible. Not so much. We'll see how it plays on the beta. Like I said, maybe the clear speed just ramps it up. But remember, Sacrifice deals 3% damage back to you. So what I found was when I was using, say, Breath of the Dying, which was the most damage I could get for the cheapest cost, 42k, it's really inconsistent how much damage you're taking to yourself. And you get popped with that one max damage hit that hits, for 40-something k, and 3% goes back to you, and you're chunked down in the middle of a pack, and you're like, well, what the fuck do I do now? So my testing, the first thing I'm going to test on beta, this is such a terrible video, I'm telling you what I'm going to test in the future, will probably be these weapons here. My number one choice is a doped out Sword Guard. The damage going to mana helps you with, the other enemies around. It has some decent defensive stats on it. That's the whole point of it. The faster hit recovery too really helps, since you're not going to have a shield. Hit recovery is going to come at a premium, and even with 12% combat skillers, at least a couple of them, getting to 86 is still pretty pain in the ass. Beyond that, though, Chains of Honor and a Vamp Gaze, you need PDR somewhere. I got a Bolcathus on, even with 31% damage reduction. This is still pretty brutal, and my reses are still not maxed, even with Chains of Honor. The rest of the gear is a smattering of crap, but in terms of the weapons, Sword Guard's working really well. Tomb Reaver is really underrated. I think it's going to be. The all-res on it, again, you want some defensive stats on your main weapon. But also the Reanimate as Returned. Again, I like my minions. Having some minions around to soak up some hits has been pretty helpful. Cranium Basher, obviously, it's the all-res and the Crushing Blow on that. That's helping the clear speed out so much. The Amplified Damage, not so helpful. You kill things in one hit, and when you have this corpse explosion that's dropping when you do kill things in that one hit, it says you're not going to be amping too many things. It is in theory, again, I'll see how this works, but the damage going to yourself, if the enemy's amped, they're going to take more damage than, what's being done back to you. So, still probably pretty good. Minimum damage. This is the other problem. When you have a weapon like this that has such a wide range of damage, like I said, it's just like that Breath of the Dying. You really don't know what's coming back at you. It's a little more consistent, even if it's more damage on, every hit. They have good minimum damage, and the Doombringer and the Cloud Crack are decent options. Those will be the budget go-to options to start. Maybe a Tomb Reaper if I find a decent one. But yeah, having, consistently knowing I'm going to take 13 to 14k, 3% of that every time. It feels nicer. And then lastly, Executioner's Justice, which I think is what Senpai was using when he was showcasing this. Again, good minimum damage, has that amplified damage that pops off a little more consistently. Especially, I think, when you kill an enemy, 50% chance when you kill an enemy. Well, that corpse explosion is going to kill an enemy. I think that's going to proc it. So we'll see how that goes too. But right now, like I said, the problem is I also thought I would run this as an Oridin. What the hell's wrong with Pluggy? I think I got rid of it already. You can see all the weapons I've been trying to mess with. I did try the Oridin version of this. Flame Bellow, there we go. I did a Flame Bellow and a Dragon, thinking that would be a decent way to pump up some easy damage for overkill damage. It's really not that great. Your max damage, I mean, I don't have the build here. Let's do it. Dump, bump, 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 bump. And if I dump that and respec into sort of a hybrid-ish Oridin, you'll see the damage is not that great. Let's just pump some stats in. Go. Cool. Wearing things. So what you'd have to do if you want to... This is viable, but it's so squishy. Sacrifice. I'm skipping maxing Redemption for this, since I want the Holy Fire synergies. Salvation, Blessed Aim. Bam. Bam. And Fire. Fanaticism, Sacrifice. That's decent damage, right? Yeah, 14 to 23k. It's cool. You have your aura, which still pumps really hard on things. Res. And now my PDR is down to 26. And I lost the Chain Spawner. So that's even with the Vamp Gaze in this. It's going to be brutal. There's probably a way to make this work, and it's going to be a very cool... I think it's more of a meme build or a niche build, kind of like the Flame Bellow Barb. Like, it works. You can do it. That's cool. But it's just not going to be the same as the physical build in terms of survivability. But again, we'll see. I'll test these all in beta. But again, weapons I'm going to be looking at if any of you are doing the beta, and I assume a lot of people are going to be testing out this new class here. Sword Guard. Really underrated. That's probably number one choice. Tomb Raver, I think, is right now number 2. And then a smattering of whatever else you can find that has decent minimum damage. Otherwise, you're just going to be chugging potions constantly. And in all reality, the problem with this is going to be finding that balance. It's not just going to be a dump all your damage into maximum class. You're going to have to get the survivability somewhere. I think the budget option to start is really going to be the Breath of the Dying. Because again, you can use like a Steel Pillar. Like I did test the Steel Pillar. Steel Pillar works fine. It's just for the price. I know I'm never going to buy an Eth Steel Pillar. It's the best in slot for most barb builds, or at least quite a few of them. Same thing with like an upped Gavel of Pain or something like that. Or, they're all going to be very expensive. For a Vex and a Zod, I guess we'll have to see what the Zod rune market is like now with the upgraded Ubers. But let's presume Zod is just a 1.0 still. It doesn't affect the market too much, even if it goes to like a 1.5, 2. For 1 to 2.5 high runes, a Breath of the Dying is going to be pretty hard to beat, even if that damage is going to go all over the place. And you can see, actually, sorry, I still have the Oridin build on, but you saw the max damage before was like 46k on max. So if you get anywhere near that on an overkill, it's going to pop the entire room. And that's really going to be the issue here. We'll have to see how the kill speed helps the survivability, because right now this is obviously not viable to play. I mean, you run into an aura pack and you're done. You just... Oh, and breakpoints, you're probably not going to worry about breakpoints because you're almost assuredly going to be running Fanaticism as your natural aura. So... I mean, even the undead there chunked me. I mean, you can see your health regens. Here, let's take a few hits. With as much life leech. Yeah, 42. Here, there we go. I mean, that's Act 5 hell. I mean, imagine what's going to happen to you in maps. I mean, yeah, you do get to regen your life in one hit, but anything that's undead is going to be a problem. And the survivability in general is an issue right now. I've rambled on enough about a nothing video, just explaining what I'm sort of doing. So I cannot wait for the beta on this. I know Wapinator was up at 2 in the morning grinding out PD2 and posting screenshots of what he found. So we're both excited for all the changes that are happening, and hope to see you guys there. I'll put some beta videos out of me testing this when it actually opens. See you later.